Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is on assignment. We begin this morning with growing concerns over the economic health of the U.S. government as the country's debt levels surge. On Wednesday, new figures by the Treasury Department revealed a costly new milestone for the national debt. For the first time, that number now tops $40 trillion. Perhaps just as troubling, the debt has more than doubled in a decade. For his part, President Trump is brushing off these concerns and touting his policies, including his tariffs. Those 50% levies he had threatened to put on some Canadian goods are still on hold until tomorrow as negotiators race to secure a new deal. In a few moments, we will speak with Investopedia's editor-in-chief and chief business editor of People Inc., Caleb Silver, about what this means for you. Before that, let's get to NBC News Washington correspondent Alice Barr. Alice, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. And starting with the national debt, those new numbers are setting off alarm bells among many economists over what they could mean for consumer costs in the coming years, and everything from credit cards to mortgages, all as we close in on midterm elections where the economy is front and center. The American economy hit with a painful headline: total U.S. debt now topping $40 trillion for the first time, according to the Treasury Department. That number more than doubling over the past decade, with President Biden and President Trump in his first term each adding about $8 trillion in new debt, much of that borrowing for pandemic response. The White House in a statement saying it's focused on slashing waste, fraud, and abuse in federal spending while accelerating economic growth, promising lower inflation and pushing for an interest rate cut to lower costs, something President Trump called for Wednesday while downplaying economic concerns.
I think we have a very powerful country, and we're powering through these ridiculous interest rates.
All as the president is threatening crushing economic warfare against Iran and unprecedented isolation, saying any country that does anything to help Iran evade sanctions will face tremendous economic consequences. That while hitting pause until midnight Friday on a punishing 50% tariff against Canadian goods, excluding oil, gas, and critical minerals. President Trump now saying the U.S. is close to reaching a new trade deal with Canada.
I delayed it at the request of Canada for 3 days so we can iron out the details. But it's going to be a wonderful deal, hopefully a wonderful deal for everybody.
Canadian negotiators say they're finalizing the deal's text.
I am very confident in these discussions.
As President Trump leans into economic leverage against friends and foes. And shifting back to the national debt, which, by the way, just ticks higher by the moment. Here's the problem for consumers. The kind of deficit spending lawmakers keep approving for decades, which has made the debt balloon, can also lead to even more inflation, piling on the challenges as the government works to get rising prices under control. Joe?
Alice, we know Republicans have often used the national debt to just attack Democratic plans and policies, but we've seen them approve some pretty hefty spending bills during President Trump's second term. How are these tensions playing out?
Yeah, the biggest example of this term is what President Trump called the big, beautiful bill, the tax cuts and added spending on the military and immigration enforcement. It was partially paid for through Medicaid cuts, but the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office still projects it's going to add $3.4 trillion to the national debt. There are deficit hawks within the GOP who initially raised objections, but ultimately voted for it overwhelmingly. There's some new reporting from our colleagues Sahil Kapoor and Rob Weil highlighting that despite Republicans' long-held insistence on this point, debt reduction is nowhere on the agenda right now. We're in the middle of a costly war. The Pentagon is asking for more money, and it's just not looking likely to summon the political will to go against President Trump's agenda for the sake of prioritizing the debt, even if it puts Republicans who run on lower government spending in a tight spot heading into the midterms.
All right, Alice Barr in Washington, thank you. Let's continue this conversation now with Caleb Silver. It seems like debt reduction is never really on the agenda these days. Help us understand how we got to this point of the debt more than doubling in a decade, hitting now this $40 trillion mark.
We're big spenders, and we've been spending as a government excessively for the last decade, but really for the last 50 to 100 years. But it really was that COVID response that added some $8 to $9 trillion on top of the debt. Plus, we are fighting a war right now, and that's costly. That's costing even more money on a daily basis. Plus, you also have those tax cuts, and that takes revenue away from the Treasury, from the government. So all those things are continuing to add to this mounting debt. 40 trillion is a massive number, and it's a symbolic number. We don't feel it as Americans on a daily basis, like we don't pay that money, but we kind of do pay that money with higher interest rates.
Yeah, help us understand, if we don't feel it every day, why does it matter so much? How does it affect the everyday consumer and the economy?
Well, just look at Treasury bond yields, and we've seen Treasury bond yields, especially for long-term Treasuries. This is the debt the U.S. government issues so we can pay our bills, and we get governments like the Bank of China and the Bank of Japan to buy it from us. Well, those yields have been rising up until yesterday. So higher yields means higher interest rates. That means higher interest rates for your mortgage payments. That means higher interest rates for car payments, credit card APRs. Money becomes more expensive. And now we're really approaching this 100% of GDP at the $40 trillion national debt level. If all the money we made in this country as individuals and businesses was put together, we could not pay down this bill.
So the Treasury Department says it's increasing the size of its government debt repurchases by at least double. What does that mean, and what would that actually accomplish?
Yeah, well, that's what we call yield curve control, and that is not a salon treatment you get to fix your hair. That is literally buying long-term Treasury bonds to bring down the yield, to make those bonds more attractive to those that buy our debt. And usually you see that in times of crisis. Saw that coming out of the pandemic. You've seen that back in 1999, 2000. It's not normal, a normal part of government function. You do see it in banks like the Bank of Japan, and Australia does this all the time. It's artificially bringing down yields by spending even more money. So that $40 trillion number keeps going up because now we're buying our own debt. We're issuing it and we're buying it. This is probably not the way Alexander Hamilton drew it up when he thought about issuing debt to help pay our bills.
I'm guessing not. Also, that doesn't sound like a good spot treatment either. No. Let's shift gears here real quick and talk about Canada. These talks are continuing. So far, we've averted seeing these 50% tariffs levied on them. What type of deal are we looking at here? Walk us through what's going on.
Yeah, well, the reporting, and we haven't had the full details of the deal, but the reporting so far, it looks like we'll get some reduction of those steep tariffs on aluminum and steel and auto parts, going from about 50% to 25%. The top line auto tariffs could come down to 15% from 25%. We get a lot of autos made in Canada, sold in the United States. They come right over that Windsor Bridge in Ontario there. So that's part of it. And also, there's negotiations about what was discussed and what was agreed to in the USMCA. That was the trade agreement between Canada and Mexico and the United States that President Trump put into place first time around. We could see a lowering of tariffs there. So you're going to see a relaxation of some of those prices. That's good news for manufacturers. Could be good news for consumers, especially when you're looking at softwood lumber, when you're looking at aluminum. We need those to build houses and to build factories. Right now, those prices are very high.
All right. Caleb Silver, good to have you with us. Thank you so much. From the debt at home to the threat abroad, President Trump is now threatening a, quote, economic D-Day against Iran, as Alice reported a moment ago. The president announced the U.S. will launch what he calls the most crushing economic operation ever taken against any country. This new pressure campaign comes as talks are deadlocked to end the war and to reopen that vital Strait of Hormuz. NBC News political reporter Megan Brand joins us now from Washington with more on that. So, Megan, what could this economic pressure campaign actually look like?
Hey, Joe, good morning. So, quite frankly, there are still a lot of questions about what this could actually look like in practice. But he had made this announcement in a Truth Social post where he had said that any country that allows its financial institutions, businesses, airports, or government entities to provide any type of lifeline to Iran will itself face tremendous economic consequences. He went on to say, it all needs to stop now. You know who you are. And so while, Joe, he had threatened those tremendous economic consequences in that post, he didn't detail what those tremendous economic consequences could ultimately be. And so that's a big question moving forward about what that would ultimately look like if he does ultimately follow through on this. But one country to keep an eye on if he does follow through on this is China. And that's because China is a key trading partner of Iran, but also a very key trading partner for the U.S. So how exactly that shakes out is to be determined, Joe.
We'll have to see what happens there. Let's stick with foreign relations. President Trump did confirm to reporters he plans to meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un this year. We remember that happened during his first term. Break down the context around this unusual move this time around.
Yeah, so it's a very unusual move for all presidents except for President Trump, because President Trump had previously met with Kim Jong-un 3 times, actually, through 2018 and 2019 during his first term. But this is significant because this also comes after earlier this week, President Trump had called for the U.S. to downsize those joint military exercises with South Korea, a key U.S. ally, moving forward. And so part of his rationale for doing that, for wanting to downsize those military exercises, is what he referred to as his very good relationship with Kim Jong-un, Joe.
Let's talk about some domestic news here. President Trump says he's going to nominate his White House aide, Dr. Heidi Overton, as the FDA commissioner. Currently, she briefs the president on various health issues. She would then lead the agency as it deals with these cyclospora outbreaks in several states. She's going to need Senate confirmation. That might be tough. I mean, what are some of the early reaction this pick is getting from senators, including some Republicans?
Yeah, so before she even goes to the full Senate for a confirmation vote, she would need to pass out of this key Senate committee. And that committee is chaired by Senator Bill Cassidy. He's a Republican from Louisiana. He's also not facing re-election this fall. And he's already expressed some concerns about her nomination. So he said this in a post to X, where he wrote that he had strong concerns about her nomination. And one thing that he pointed to was her role in President Trump's vaccine executive order last week. He said that this calls into question her commitment to standing up for sound science and protecting children's health. That alone is almost disqualifying. And at the same time, Joe, it seems unlikely that she's going to get support from Democrats. We also heard yesterday from Senator Patty Murray, a Democrat, who had said that she's going to vote no on that nomination. She's also part of that key Senate committee. She wrote, the American people deserve someone who will put science and facts first, not another Trump sycophant who will make it their mission to attack medication, abortion. I will vote no. And she really has no margin for error here. That's because Republicans have just a 1-seat majority on that key committee. And so if someone like Senator Cassidy decides that they're not going to support Overton, then that could effectively, potentially tank her nomination before it even reaches the Senate floor, Joe.
All right. Megan Brand, lots to cover this morning. Thank you so much. An investigation is underway into a deadly helicopter crash in Kenya that killed 7 people. Those on board were traveling between safari locations, among them 5 American tourists, including a veteran executive from the NBC Universal and Telemundo family. NBC's George Solis has the story.
A helicopter carrying tourists on safari ending in a horrific crash, killing 7 people, including 5 Americans. New video showing the search and recovery operation alongside charred debris in the mountainous terrain. Here, you can see the tail rotor warped from the crash, and these images from the Kenya Red Cross, smoke rising from the crash site, and part of the helicopter wreckage visible on the ground. Among the Americans killed, Jose Suarez, a Telemundo executive who led stations in Orlando, Tampa, and Fort Myers. Also on board, prominent South Florida restaurateur Roger Duarte, Ecuadorian intelligence official Michele Sensei Kontugi and his wife Stephanie, and married South Florida couple Henry Parra and Adam Levate, who love to travel, their friends tell NBC News. The aircraft went down around 9:13 local time near Mount Ololokwe in Samburu County. A pilot and all 6 passengers killed. Kenyan authorities say it was flying between 2 safari conservancies when it crashed.
What is your first assessment of what you've seen so far?
Well, the investigators are going to look at the debris field. I think they'll look at the weather. I think they will look at any work, mechanical work that had been done on the helicopter. I think they will look at the pilot's training.
The terrain is making the recovery effort difficult, with an active fire also reported at the crash site. Colleagues remembering Suarez, a more than 20-year veteran of NBC Universal News Group. Chairman Cesar Conde saying in a statement, "We are heartbroken by Suarez's death," adding he was an exceptional colleague who cared deeply about his teams.
And our thanks to George Solis for that report. This morning, a combination of stifling heat and summer storms is continuing to grip the nation. Today, another day of dangerous heat will stretch from the southwest to the Gulf Coast. 83 million people will be under heat alerts, bracing for temperatures that could once again reach triple digits. And the summer of relentless storms is threatening millions more today. Flood watches will extend from parts of the mid-Atlantic into the New York metro area. Our Priscilla Thompson is once again following it all for us from Houston. Priscilla, good morning. Let's start with this scorching heat wave. You know know it well. You showed us yesterday how that football team is managing to stay cool by practicing early. What else are officials doing to keep kids safe as they head back to school?
Yeah, Joe, that is exactly what it is. It is minimizing the time outdoors, so holding those practices before sunrise, even for the younger kids who might be going out for recess. Instead of doing 30 or 45 minutes, they may only do 10 or 15 minutes outside and then bring them into the gym for the rest of their recess. So those are some of the things. And the other things that these schools are grappling with is these aging HVAC systems. We saw one school in Georgia that actually had to send kids to the classroom virtually because their HVAC system was overwhelmed in this heat. And we've heard from parents in Louisiana raising concerns about those unair conditioned school buses, just saying that, experts have said that sometimes it can be hotter inside those buses, even with the windows down, than it is outside. So a lot of things to watch for as kids are back in school and this heat the temperature just keeps going up. Joe?
Yeah, wow, that is a long ride to school if you don't have AC in those heat conditions there. What are some tips that just all of us can use to try and better protect ourselves from the heat as we head into these final weeks of summer?
Yeah, so I talked to the Houston Fire Department about this, and they say that a lot of the calls that they're getting are for heat exhaustion and specifically dehydration. So reminding people, especially those who are outside a lot, construction workers, to make sure that you're staying hydrated, which is a good message for everyone. And also to really try to minimize that time outdoors. He really emphasized that this is a days-long heat wave, and sometimes we don't realize the impact that this is having over a longer period of time, especially if you're not getting enough water and you're spending a lot of time outdoors. And for the kids, I will say, experts say, send them to school in breathable, loose clothing. We know the older kids like to wear the hoodies. Save that for the fall. And also, if you can, send them with a water bottle so that they can refill it and remember that hydration throughout the day. Joe?
Yeah, some good advice. Definitely not hoodie weather right now, Priscilla. We also mentioned the severe storms could create some floods in the eastern part of the country. Walk us through what we can expect from yet another round of heavy rain.
Yeah, so that I-95 corridor is going to be the place to watch today. It could impact the commute later on today as we're expecting some heavy storms from Connecticut to Virginia. We could see high winds in the mid-Atlantic and also a really heavy rain in the Northeast. So got to watch out for that. And Joe, I just want to tell you, we were on a high school campus yesterday and I saw multiple students in sweatshirts walking into school. So it is a thing.
Wow.
Joe?
All right, Priscilla Thompson, appreciate it. Continue to stay cool. Thanks for your reporting. We'll get some more details now on how the heat and the rain are going to play out today with your morning news now weather. Angie, I feel like if I put a hoodie or a sweatshirt on, it would just be permanently stuck to me. I don't know if I'd even be able to get it off.
The only place I need a hoodie is in this studio right here.
Yeah,
otherwise, you take one step outside. No thanks, Joe.
It is well air conditioned.
It is well air conditioned. We're staying cool in here, and I think that's, you just heard Priscilla say, that's the advice again for today. No surprise, we've still got more than 80 million people under these heat alerts. I know I sound like a broken record. It's all the same spots. A little nicer, kind of more refreshing conditions centered across parts of the Great Lakes in the Northeast for now. But across the southern tier of the country, the Southeast especially, we are just scorching. 106 for Dallas today will feel like 108, 109 for the feels like in Memphis. Tomorrow, more of the same. Montgomery feels like 104, Columbia feels like 105. And even as we get into the weekend and next week, we are still quite steamy. We're going to see those high 90s to triple digits for the actual temperatures. And then, of course, you add in all of that humidity that's coming into this area. And Baton Rouge expects to feel like 108 on Saturday, 107 on Sunday, and 105 on Monday. And that's kind of the story, especially if you're across parts of Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma. Raleigh, on the other hand, into the high 80s to low 90s for what it'll feel like through the weekend and beyond. Big picture look for the rain. This is finally on the move. We've got a couple of spots that we're going to watch for some stronger storms as we get into the afternoon hours and into the late evening. Notice the upper Midwest, Minneapolis, stretching down across parts of Kansas. The hail and the wind gusts are going to be what we'll watch later today. And then the Mid-Atlantic, a section of the Mid-Atlantic, really north of Raleigh, but including Washington, D.C., we'll see the chance for some strong wind gusts and potentially some tornadoes. We've got a risk of some isolated tornadoes out there through the day today. Already Already, though, we're ramping up those flood alerts. No surprise at this point. We've got a big batch of moisture kind of on the move and going to impact folks, especially across the I-95 corridor as we get into that evening commute. I think if you live in New York City, the first half of your day is going to be just fine. It's the second half of the day and beyond that you're going to see that heavy rain and the potential for some of those stronger thunderstorms to really ramp up across this region. And it does stretch north into parts of New England as well. That'll be on the move, though, and then we'll see a little bit of that kind of rain lingering for parts of New England tomorrow, Joe, and then some of that rain across parts of the southeast.
All right, Angie, thank you so much. A police report is revealing new details about the investigation into the death of actress Hayden Panettiere. It lays out who was at that apartment in South Carolina when she went into cardiac arrest on Sunday. Panettiere's mother is also telling NBC News more about who was involved in the investigation into her death. NBC News correspondent Steve Patterson has the latest. Steve, good morning.
Yeah, we're following new details into the circumstances surrounding Panettiere's death, including separately new images of police at the Greenville home of her former boyfriend. New images of police at the doorstep of the men who were with Hayden Panettiere when she died. You can see Greenville police outside the home of Brian Hickerson and his brother. 2 squad cars are parked out front as officers can be seen walking up to the porch. Greenville police telling people that officers responded to a call for a welfare check at the home and that it was unrelated to the Hayden Panettiere death investigation. And we're seeing Hickerson in Greenville for the first time since Panettiere's death. Meanwhile, the actress's mother telling NBC News that police are investigating her daughter's death and that a narcotics investigator has been brought in. Neither Greenville police nor Hickerson have responded to NBC News' request for comment. Greenville police have said a preliminary investigation did not show evidence of foul play or suspicious circumstances. Panettiere wrote about her relationship with Hickerson in a recent memoir describing abuse she says she suffered. Shortly after, Hickerson admitting to some of the allegations in an interview with TMZ.
I had a lot to drink, and I got physical with her, and I got arrested, spent the night in jail.
Meanwhile, the coroner's office telling us that Panettiere's remains are now with her family. They say a full autopsy and toxicology report could take anywhere from 6 to 10 weeks.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.